Hello, fellow filmophiles. Are you frequenting the media platforms looking for that next special podcast that'll get you in the mood or find you the right movie to watch for your special night? Well, guess what? You should check out Torn Reels with Andy as the host and his brother Sean as the co-host. You can never go wrong with whatever subject they bring up next. Wake up, bitches. It's time for another fantastic episode of Our Corner, the only podcast with a kill death streak. I'm your host, Aaron, and with me today is the main man himself.
Apparently a person who interrupted. Sorry.
No, dude, you're fine, man.
Sorry. I had to get my fixing.
He's all, yeah, man. Well, I mean, like, you know what else people are going to get their fix for?
What? What's up?
Call of Duty Black Ops 6.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You wanted to do Call of Duty this week. I forgot about that.
Yeah, man. I wanted to talk about that. It's coming out on October 25th. A few cool
ways
things.
away.
Yeah, quite a distance.
Could have squeezed in a few more episodes before this one, but whatever.
We could have done a lot of things, man. Like, let's be real. We could have done, like, airplanes and shit, but...
What?
Nah, there was nothing unrelated. I didn't have a comeback, so I just, like, throwing something out there. Seeing if it stuck. Did it stick?
So Call of Duty.
So Call of Duty.
All right, bet.
So it's coming out October 25th this year.
Yeah, you said that.
One of the things that it's starting to, one of the things that kind of comes out is like, as they came out, they kind of introduced this new way of movement. They're calling it Omni movement, where it's like you can run forward, run backwards, side to side, left and right. You can dive in every single direction, not just forwards.
Right.
And so,
It's kind of an extension from what they had in the first Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yeah.
Where you could dolphin dive, except now you can do that everywhere. You can, shoot and dive. You can shoot and back up, all that stuff.
Yeah, and they have something else that goes with that called smart movement, where you can kind of set those presets to it, so that way you can focus more on your actual like sights versus like the movement speed and everything that you want. So they're also bringing back kind of the classic prestige mode, where you get to level 55, you prestige, and then you start over. And then after like a certain amount of times, they have one that's like where it goes to like 1,000 levels of prestige.
And yet again, they're doing the exact same thing that they did before, where they're doing the whole battle royale type style. This is multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which at this point I'm kind of tired of it, but also it kind of shows to where gaming is, because look what just happened recently. Helldivers 2 lost 90% of its playability, of its playable market. They lost 90% of it, and they're dropping still. It's player base. Thank you, Gentech. Always correcting me when I need it. But yeah, they lost 90% of their player base, and they're just struggling to stay above water right now regarding player base.
Did it say why they lost that 90%?
Honestly, I didn't look into how far it was or what it was going on with it, but 90% of a player base is a huge decrease from what they were.
Yeah, unless you've got those guys who literally paid their entire life savings to getting all the bonuses and stuff, you've pretty much lost everyone.
Pretty much. And to show, does that mean that the gaming world was not ready for them? Or was it just a quick fad and then we're back to Battle Royale? Because I hate Battle Royale.
I'm not going to lie to you. I hate fucking Battle Royale, too. Black Ops 6 seems like, from what everyone's saying, supposed to be like an apology for Modern Warfare 3. But realistically, it's just a carbon cut copy of everything else.
Yeah, you can't apologize to me for that. There's no forgivable. Is your phone on?
My phone is on.
Bro, turn off your phone. We're in the middle of what the fuck?
That was my bad, people. That you should have had my undivided attention.
Who are you calling, your agent? We're not that big yet. Not that big. Anyway, but so does that mean that the gamer world was ready for that, or was it just a quick phase? And we're back to Battle Royale. Does that mean that this is the new face of gaming, just Battle Royale continuously? Or are we going to go back to where we had, deathmatch and, all that stuff?
So they do have some maps here that they're talking about where they're doing 2 versus 2 or 6 versus 6.
But that limits your playership.
That does, and I feel like that's something that, like...
What if I got 3 homies and 3 homies? What if I don't got that many homies? What if I only got 6 friends and that's it? Because that's all the people that can tolerate me. Hollering at you guys.
Like, yeah,
love y'all.
Not just that, but think about it like this, man. What happens if, like, what happened to the 4v4 or 1v1?
Yeah.
Like...
How are we going to do no scopes, bro? Like,
Like, there should be a space in between all of those that you can start playing with those kind of players.
Right.
And have those kind of map spaces. Like, yeah,
Obviously, if you're going up by increments of 2, then, you're saying like for every 2 players that are added to each side of the team, the map gets bigger or smaller.
Which would make more sense
But
in a
it's
way.
Activision. Expecting Activision to change is like expecting a drug addict not to suck dick for crack.
It's not just Activision, bro. Triarch sucks too. Infinity Ward's the same way.
Raven Software, man.
You're Raven Software, bitch.
The idea is that they've also have skill-based matchmaking. Now, here's where that becomes kind of a problem, right?
Right.
You have skill-based matchmaking, then you have smart movement that helps people. Either you're going to have a lot of people that do a lot of the movement and have their skill gap,
Which is fine.
but the big concern is that skill gap. So now you're going to have players who are really good, right? And still have that smart movement and still do everything. Play with players that maybe aren't that great and be carrying the whole team, which brings down their kill-death ratio.
I guess in a way.
So in some ways, you're kind of handicapping your players to
Well,
be
the kill death
average.
ratio is only based on you, on your skills.
Right, but if you're stuck in a team full of people that you're carrying their weight and the other team is really good, then it takes down your personal stats because
Then you're not carrying the weight, my guy. If you're losing, you're not carrying the weight.
if you're the best player on the team and the team is still losing,
You're still losing.
Yeah.
You already fucked yourself. But no, like the kill death ratio. I mean, I could be on a losing team and have a great kill death ratio because I just killed so many people and didn't get killed as much times. But the other team slaughtered my team, which was not that good.
yeah, which is why I'm saying like that skill gap is kind of important because smart movement does help. But then, like, you have people who have to utilize it. You have to get people who are good at the maps and do all that stuff. And then that's where you see that bridge of skill between people who are naturally good and utilizing an extra tool
Yeah.
and people who are not good utilizing a tool and bringing their teammates down.
I find it very difficult to find that it actually like that's more of a nitpicky argument. Like you could say that about anything. You could say that when Halo came out. You could have said that when Call of Duty came out the first time.
That's fair. I you know what? That's absolutely fair. I'll get
Multiplayer, you had that skill gap, and it was still there. People who couldn't snipe, people who could snipe, people who were shitty at this were good at this. There was people who could play and get great kill death ratios on multiplayer or on team deathmatch. But then we'd switch over to gun game, and they fucking sucked.
Oh my
Bro, they were the
goodness.
worst players in the world. Or we'd play fucking Sticks and Stones, and they'd be like the worst ever because they're just not designed that way.
Makes sense because you have different game styles, different game bases, and different play styles. This one is going to be focused on 3 different player styles where they have
Right.
it's the assault based, they have like the recon based, and the strategist based. So they're really focusing the gameplay around those 3 styles. One thing they didn't do that I feel like they really should have was done the extra thing where you have the ability to, like, instead of having a lethal grenade and an actual, like, utilizing utility grenade. Holy fuck.
Utilizing English, bro.
Utilizing, yeah, utilize my English.
Yeah,
Like,
utilize them English.
utility grenade where you could actually take up extra perks instead.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. So now there's going to be, from my kind of point, there might be a lot more like grenade spamming, which never really a bad thing because, like, you still got a grenade. You can use a grenade.
Yeah.
If it's in the game, it's in the game for a reason. Like, if you're adding it to the game.
To a point. Hang on. To a point. But there are, I guess my concern with this is, like, what other things is Call of Duty offering other than the same basic bullshit? It sounds like you're taking away things, not really adding things. Like, what's new? What's going to be
So they're
an
going to bring
improvement for the
back
gamer experience?
round-based zombies, which they
I'm
never
sorry,
really
one
got
more
rid
time?
of. From what they've advised, they're going to bring back round-based zombies, which I don't think they ever really got rid of except in Warzone.
Yeah, but which is why in Warzone they got rid of the round-based zombies.
Which is round-based is really cool. It was the fun one to kind of do. I just, you know what? I'll be frank, dude. I fucking hated Warzone.
Yeah, me too. I hated it.
Like,
I even hated Call of Duty Mobile. I hate that
how
shit.
do you sit there and be like, man, I want more PUBG, but I want it to be a Call of Duty version?
It's just PUBG. It's just PUBG.
It's-
And then PUBG is literally a worse, almost realistic graphics of Fortnite. It's still the same shit. It's like,
Just
so just play that. So just play Fortnite.
I get that at some point you got to copy like the best, but you got to add your own stuff to it. You can't just be like, listen, Call of Duty, you get to what is it? You get to customize your weapons and classes and stuff like that, but it's still just a battle royale game.
Yeah, still just a battle royale game.
Like, and everybody knows that's the problem, is that if someone was like, hey, they came out and did it better.
I mean, it doesn't even matter though. Like, how do you like back in the day? You had games that were different, that were still good, but they were different. And even though they were based on relatively the same thing, who did you know that played Halo that didn't play Gears of War?
Nobody. Everybody Halo
played Gears
and
of War.
Gears of War.
Who played Call of Duty and didn't play Battlefield? I played Battlefield. I played Battlefield and Call of Duty, both of them when they came out. When they
Actually,
started coming out.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I haven't played Battlefield.
You missed out on Battlefield.
I missed out on Battlefield, and you know what? But I saw people play Battlefield. My
Right.
cousins played Battlefield,
And
I
they
got to
were-
watch them.
And even though they were similar, even though Call of Duty and Battlefield were similar, Battlefield had better certain things, but it wasn't overpowering to the point where you're like, oh, I'm never going to play Call of Duty again. You're just like, I'll play Battlefield when I want to be, when I want shit to be a little bit more, not realistic per se, but be more, I guess, yeah, for lack of a better word, realistic. And then you played Call of Duty when you were with your friends, because not everybody played Battlefield. Not everybody liked it. Same thing with Gears of War. You played Halo until someone came in and said, hey, why don't we play Gears? Oh, okay, let's play Gears. And then we changed it over. Like, that was, and I'm dating myself with the games, and I know I'm over here like,
You're talking
fucking,
about the days of like Game Informer and stuff like that, where you
Yeah.
got to like go in and like listen to people's like own testimonials about the game.
yeah, I'm over here like fucking Joe Rogan quoting Quake and shit like that. It's like, bruh, Quake was like an 80s game.
Bro, Quake. And you know what? That's the thing, is like Quake and Doom and all of them, when you kind of like put it towards like, hey, they're older games, you could still separate them.
Yeah. And even the newer games, you could still separate them. Like, I'm sorry, I covered my mouth there. But even the newer games, you could still separate them. You had a bunch of zombie games that were very similar, but also very completely, vastly different, that you could play in any type of arena and were great.
They
You know what I mean?
still kind of still have a lot of separate games that are like zombie based, which are interesting, because like you get a lot of Resident Evils and they're doing the remakes for them, which they look really good now.
Yeah.
They're buffing the
But I'm talking
graphics
about-
and all that, but
But I'm talking about in generality, you have games that copy each other, that constantly are doing the same shit over and over and over, that are constantly doing the same things and moving in the same direction. And then you go, but what the hell? Where's the variety? Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, even games that dealt with the same thing, like you had, and again, I'm dating myself, you had Gran Turismo, and then you had Need for Speed,
right.
and then you had fucking a bunch of other games that were just the same almost, but they were all different in their aspect.
Even games that came out with the same company, like what was it, Saints Row and Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto, basically the same game,
But-
except dildos.
Literally, what except dildos? Yeah, no.
Literally.
Yeah, no.
Literally. In Grand Theft Auto, you couldn't grab a dildo. In Saints Row, you could grab a dildo and beat the shit out of another pimp with it.
That was wild.
That was a great game.
That was a fantastic.
Let me
game.
kill Mr. Dad to it.
Yeah, damn.
Anyway, but
One thing I want to say about this though is that from what people are saying is that this could be the game that kind of saves Activision's Call of Duty.
how? If it's the
Franchise.
same shit? How if it's the same shit? Like,
I don't
unless you're
think it's
offering
based
something
in
different.
fact, though. I feel like they're opinionated because they want it to do it. You know what I mean? Like we've had so many Call of Duties that they want Call of Duty. to
Like, okay,
succeed.
I understand that if they were like, okay, Call of Duty's coming out brand new, and what you have to do is you have to get the fucking the Oculus or whatever, right? That VR shit.
Yeah.
And they were gonna come out with like a new rifle-based controller or whatever. Okay, cool. Bet. Awesome. You're revolutionizing games. Call of Duty is gonna be back on the map. People are gonna want to play it, and it's gonna increase the sales of everything, including the consoles. And it's gonna cause everybody who's currently in a console war or is currently competing to start copying that and start making games more interactive. That's how you progress. Instead, you're like, hey, same shit. We're just gonna do the Apple thing and just charge you $800 more or fucking $30 more per game. Which, by the way, you still can't own because no more physical copies. It's all fucking licensing bullshit. So now you got to pay extra for a temporary license that they have the right to pull the plug on. Which, by the way, if you don't know, if you get banned, they delete all your games.
It's fucking wild. And
So
I
what are
say
you
that
changing?
with the most. Yeah, you're not really changing nothing. Could you imagine though if they came out on the Oculus, they actually come out with like an what is it, like how the Wii did, how they have the gun shaped like stands you can put each one
They
of the
have that.
controllers?
They have that.
Oh, they really do?
Yeah, they have that. Oculus has that.
Oh, dude, that's dope.
Yeah, they're just trying to get everything to that point to where the games go. But right now, nobody really wants to go with that because when VR came out, it wasn't as popular as people thought it was going to be. But now that they've gotten everything more dialed in, it's way better. It's like having literally a desktop at your eyes. like literally at your fucking face.
Oh yeah, no, I've played on Oculus. Dude.
It's
I've
crazy.
played on the VR. The VR is definitely fun. We've played a few, like me and my brothers hopped on a few like terrorist hunt games.
And they have the haptic feedback suits. They have the rifle shaped, controllers. They have a bunch of shit now,
Even-
bro.
I know that they have the treadmills that you get on, and you can
Yeah.
actually simulate the movement.
Right. They're
So
trying to
that's-
find a way to to compartmentalize that so that way you can use it at home.
That's what's up. That'd be
That'd be
dope.
dope.
Like that's the thing is that like a lot of games are doing a lot of stuff to go ahead here and push the boundaries,
Right.
but Call of Duty isn't one of them.
Actually,
And-
my guy, no games are really doing that now. A lot of games are kind of the same thing, while these other companies that are like Oculus and stuff are advancing way beyond it, and to the point where it gets it, no one's gonna jump on it or no one's gonna be able to do it. What I think they should do with Oculus, and that's because I'm a fan, is they should do a Yu-Gi-Oh game with Oculus, bro.
I think they do.
Imagine.
Don't
No, not yet. But imagine, bro, you're randomly in the middle of a field, and all of a sudden, Blue Eyes White Dragon out of nowhere, fucking everybody up. You know what I mean? That'd be
they? I
dope.
can feel that. I can feel that. You kind of do that same thing with like a Pokemon game.
Yeah, Pokemon Go
Like-
would go to a different level, bro. You can actually
Like
see
you
the-
actually hunting Pokemon. And
Yeah,
shit, like
bro.
You're out there.
you actually you actually go to the polls.
Pokemon go to the polls.
Fucking, is she running this year? Dude, thank God.
I don't think she can anymore.
It's so bad. But anyway,
Jesus, dude. Holy fuck.
you'll hear more about Hillary's career on fucking Walking the Weird. We have an episode coming up with that.
Oh my god.
But
That was such a travesty. Hey, you know what? Stop for a second. That was such a fucking travesty. Like I'm a
her
pun
hair.
guy.
Yeah, me too.
Her hair
Oh.
and fucking Pokemon go to the polls. Like, how did you think that was gonna help you?
She didn't. Look at her hair.
Someone in some way was sitting there looking at her speech like she fucking did it. Why do I bother writing shit down?
Yeah, I bet you someone did do that. They were like, bro, just write what I.
And,
And
then
was
there
very
you
upset.
went. Now, one of the things that I did want to talk about here
What's up?
is because while we have the hype for Call of Duty coming out, because that's what Call of Duty is. It's hype.
Right, it's hype.
That's
For the
all
most
it is.
part. For the most part. Hang on. For the most part, because Call of Duty Black Ops 2, that zombie game was fucking amazing.
I did like Black Ops 2.
Bro, Black Ops 2 was the shit. Black Ops 1 was the shit on gameplay and
Mm-hmm.
fucking zombies, bro. Kino de Toten. Tell me you didn't fucking rock at that level every day. All the time.
All the time.
High, drunk, didn't matter because you got on. I bet you there's some of you people out there that still go on it now. I bet you. I do.
Oh,
Try not to
absolutely.
sometimes, but I do.
There's but for the most part, it is the hype, man.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to say is that there is a game that came out here that's kind of still holding its own on its fan base, and that is the
If you fucking say Diablo, I'll hit you.
no fuck
If
no
you say Diablo, I'll hit you.
no. I'll talk about Diablo, but I ain't gonna talk about it.
Don't
right
talk about
now.
Diablo. You had 2 episodes
I
full of
have
Diablo.
2 episodes.
We've
full of
been
bullshit.
Diabloed out
I think we're done with Diablo
for a minute
for a long time.
until they decide doing a good product. So never.
Yeah, so never.
Anyway, keep going.
So Elden Ring came out with its first expansion, its DLC.
You were on
Right.
Elden Ring's dick. Like that's all I've heard.
Dude, it is wild. Like it is such like
The dick is wild.
the
I
dick,
bet
the dick is wild. Dicks are wild, bro.
that
It's-
Elden Ring dick.
that Elden Ring dick. Not only is it the hardest dick there, but there's no beating it.
Not only is it Elden, it's also ring shaped.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go.
It's fucking thick with it's thick with problems.
Them spells, bro. Anyway, keep going.
Gotta spit on that thing.
Please stop. Please don't do that. Anyway,
No, so there's been a lot of feedback about the DLC, right?
yeah.
There's been some rumors here about people being able to like kind of come in, beat the game, and solo it on kind of like that level 1. But that's what everybody says, right? That
Right.
comes with every game. But there are people out there who are like, dude, this is the hardest fucking part I've ever played. Like, it's almost unbeatable. And so we have people who are talking and kind of going back and forth, but it holds to the actual. What's the word I'm looking for, Sean?
If I knew you would be my
Reputation.
co-host. Okay.
Thank you. So it holds to
Don't
the
know for
actual,
what. It didn't do anything.
holds to the actual reputation that Elden Rings has, and even the Dark Souls universe. They're supposed to be hard games.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that when their DLC came out, that it was an equally hard game filled with the same kind of content that people expected, but in a different way, and they did just that.
Right.
So it's like on one hand, we have the hype of Call of Duty coming out, On the other hand, we have the people who are hyped that they deliver every single fucking time.
But do you see the fan base hates both? The fan base hates both because it's the exact same thing, and then the fan base hates the other one because it's the exact same thing. You get what I'm saying? Call of Duty is being criticized, and not just by me, but by other people. They're basically being criticized for releasing the same product, for basically appling it. But Elden Ring's doing the exact same shit, except they make theirs difficult and more entertaining. Yeah, okay, they do, but it's the same shit. You get what I'm saying? Like right now, games aren't doing too much different, which kind of sucks in a way because you limit your capabilities, you limit your audience and everything. Look, as a person just standing here, I'm an ex-gamer. I don't play games anymore.
It's a shame you got to add the X to it.
I used to play games. I used to game all the time during the days of Halo and all that shit. I used to fucking tear that shit up. No bathing for a week is what I'm talking about. Really bad. But I don't play games anymore. And right now, every time I get on a game, it's the exact same bullshit. So I'm like, I've already played this game. So to get someone else who's either already been there or someone who's barely coming into the scene, you got to give them something more than just the usual shit. You got to give them something. Like that's why we've been talking about starting streaming channels, you and me.
Yeah, and
About doing games and stuff. That's why I've always gone towards the horror side. Like I'd rather do horror games because there's many horror games that I haven't played and I can actually catch up. And when it starts leveling out, well, then I'll just change to a different genre that's popping or whatever.
not just that, but like horror games in general, they do always have some sort of different feature that adds to it. Like, yeah, there's a survival aspect to it, but there's different things. Like some games have it to where like you go insane as you go through the game, and like you lose control of your character from time to time.
Right now, with all the AI shit, now they have the AI in the horror games, and they have the mic live and on, so the characters in the game can hear you when you talk. So if you're sitting there and you whisper accidentally, that fucking demonized fucking little fucking flexible bitch is gonna crawl over to you and rip your fucking head off.
I'm telling you, man, like you normally have to pay extra for that.
Not that head.
Uh-huh.
Also, ow.
Oh, well.
That's fucking. You need help, man. Anyway, but that's the point. Like you have games that offer different, but not really different. So if we do end up doing these types of channels or whatever, I'm probably gonna base it off of horror and strategy games because, in reality, those first-person shooter games, they're all the same, dude. If I really do, I'll just throw in Fortnite. I already have it downloaded. I'll just fucking throw it on and play.
Yeah, why
It's
not?
the same shit, right?
Why not, man? And here's something that I do want to say, because I feel like while not all games are the same, there is a lot of them that do the same thing over and over. Like I'm an RPG guy, you already know.
Yeah.
Like my call handle is RPG Behemoth. And that's something that we're talking about in that strat is like doing those streamings.
Yeah.
But my big thing here is that like anytime I start a new RPG game, you start from level 1. Basic rule of thumb. But it's almost like everything is the exact same. You have points that you use to buy skills. You have, as you get rewards, you buy better armor. You can add skills to armor.
It's the same thing over and over.
It just starts at some point. Someone's got to find something that can kind of change the game a little. Like,
And also, you know my problems with RPGs.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god.
We're not gonna go there, but go.
We're not, but that's the big thing is that like you can customize your guy, but the games really only design them to be like a certain way in order to be successful.
Yep.
And that's something that's like a damn shame. You should be able to just be successful however you create your guy.
And not have to worry about anything.
And not have to worry about anything like that. Like,
I get it. Look at the big disappointment when we had a lot of these Lord of the Rings games that came out. They had so much potential to do skirmish games or even proper RPG games, and they didn't. Even we had that same thing happen with Diablo, like we were talking about that game that shall not be named. That
don't even get me started because they've got their DLC that's coming out too, and I just as much as I'm like, dude,
and we all know what's gonna happen. It's gonna suck.
It's gonna suck.
We all know it's gonna suck, dude.
Probably, dude. It's just, and that's
Gintech knows. I know the people who are watching this. Hi, Tony. He knows. I
would rather go back and play Diablo 2, where I can just have fun with the game.
Yeah.
Instead of going through Diablo 4, waiting for them to update their shit every week, and then fucking like do the same thing that they're doing.
Bottom line, are we gonna buy Call of Duty? Yeah, probably. We're degenerates. We're probably gonna do that. I might start playing.
I'm okay with the degeneracy. Like, I honestly would probably buy it because I know that my brothers are gonna play it. I know
Right.
they're gonna get it. What I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna pre-order that bitch. Like,
Yeah, no, fuck
that's-
that.
I'm not about that. I feel like if you're avid gamer that does only Call of Duty shit, like pre-order it. You know you're gonna like it.
Shit, what you talking about? You know I'm gonna home share with you. I'm gonna have it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, fuck. Why not?
Hey,
But
we don't own it, right? So we're just borrowing the licensing. There you go.
there you go.
Yep.
So, but if that's the case, it really makes me wonder, like, what we have for the future of gaming. Like, what that new, because you can always repackage the product and sell it to a new generation as something exciting that they get excited about. And then you play on the nostalgia of people who are older who remember the games. But, like, what does that do for the future?
So my prediction for the future, it's an optimistic one actually. I think Oculus and all those things, not Apple. Apple's VR is horrible. But I think Oculus and a few other places like that, a few other companies like that are going to take over the gaming industry.
Mhm.
And it's going to happen one day to another. It's going to happen one day. Everyone's still going to be playing PS5, getting ready for the drop of PS6. And then all of a sudden, Oculus is going to take over and everything's going to drop. PS6s are going to be sold for like $50, $100. Maybe not that exaggerated, but they're not going to be popular anymore.
They're going to be sold for their 200, 300 counterparts. you know?
And now everybody's going to try to get an Oculus fast, which is going to increase the sales of Oculus and increase the prices. But then Sony, Windows, everybody, or Sony, Microsoft, everybody is going to do the same thing. They're going to be like, oh, we can release VR headsets, and they're all going to be cheap, shitty quality, don't work well. We saw the same thing before with the Kinect and the Move. Same thing. We saw this exact same shit happen before.
Dude, the Kinect was so terrible where like you plugged it in and if it worked, and if it didn't, there was no fixing it.
Yeah.
Like you connected it and then like it would hear and do everything it could. It had the video always on, microphone always on. Like
Yeah,
there was
and you
no
couldn't do
control
anything.
over that.
And the same thing with the Move. If it wasn't calibrated just right, you couldn't play any games on there because it was just fucked up to no end. And you couldn't do anything at all. Not like the Oculus, dude. The Oculus, I played the boxing game on it. It is so great. It is like one of the most, like, not interactive, but it's more accurate when it comes to movement. Like, if you put your hands up, it'll automatically put its hands up, like, right at, there's, like, no delay, bro. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
I love
That's
the
gonna be the
actual
future.
first-person shooters from the Oculus because, like I said, me and my brothers, we do those terrorist hunt games. And what you'll hear is it's the same thing. You'll be moving, you'll have the gun, you have to aim, you have to hold
Yeah.
it, you have to reload like you're actually reloading a weapon. At the same time, you've got to keep like the turning your head, making sure that there's no one coming. You gaze around corners and stuff like that. I mean, it's I feel
The bars that they use for the rifle have a little compression spring, and that every time like they have the shot, it goes explodes, so it feels like recoil. Like that's how far they're going.
that's dope. That is dope. I can't wait till we start training people how to like fly planes and shit using Oculus.
What are you talking about? We have the simulators already. We have the truck driver simulators. We have the airplane simulators. How do you think these people get their licensing? You think they actually go
That's
up now?
gangster.
They do that now.
That's
how,
gangster. So then, like, let's fucking make the jump already.
bro. They're what is
October 25th might be too late. I'm just saying, like, with what you're telling me,
it? It might be too late.
it might be too
No,
late.
I'm telling you, bro. You can go on TikTok anywhere. That's where a lot of people will start up channels and be like, "I'm practicing for my CDL," and they're sitting down there with this system that they built that resembles the cab of a fucking truck, and they have like 3 big ass monitors all around them. So they just practice. They practice in a simulator how to park, how to fucking do all that shit with a really wide load. So that way, as soon as they get on the road, they're
good.
experts, bro.
That's gonna be great. I can't wait to see what great things it comes in store next.
Yeah.
But I think that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Our Corner. Listen, y'all been a great audience member, and we'll see you for the next episode.
Listen, y'all have been a great audience member, as he said it. Awesome. Peace.